All right, now let us focus on run processing. Run processing.py file runs your entire processing pipeline. Okay, what does it do? It starts with reading all the cleaned study files from the GCS bucket. Then it is going to save each study's metadata into Cloud SQL studies table. Okay, which is required first. Okay, because the chunks have a foreign key to studies. Then it is going to split each study's text into overlapping chunks. Okay, it is going to split each study's text into overlapping chunks with the help of chunker.py, then converts each chunk into a dimension list, which is embedder.py, and then saves the chunks and embeddings into the Cloud SQL's chunks table, okay, which we have defined in vector store.py. And why does this order matters? I've already written it here. Okay, we're going to build this pipeline. Typically this is the kind of output that we can expect. Okay, you can see it found studies in GCS. It is loading those studies successfully. It is going to insert whatever 150 studies into the database. You can see it is telling us how many studies it has chunked. Then it has started embedding, how many batches are embedded. All of them are successfully embedded, yes or no. How many chunks are embedded. All of that it gives us the data about. Okay, so let us now try to focus on building the processing pipeline. Okay, now let us start with import async IO. Then I'm just going to say from ingestion dot document parser, I'm going to import parsed study. Then from ingestion dot GCS store, I'm going to import GCS store. Okay, then from processing.chunker, I will be importing chunker. I'll be also importing embedder. Then from processing.vector store, now these are all files that we have created, right? Chunker.py, embedder.py, vector store.py. We are going to import the individual individual modules that we have created there. And then I'm just going to say from config.logging config, I'm going to import setup logging. Then I'm going to create that logger here. Okay, so I'll just, yeah, all right, looks fine. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an async function. Okay, that helps me run the, I'll just create an async function, yeah, which helps me run the processing part. Okay, so sorry, I should be writing it this way. Yeah. All right, now what is this function? This runs the complete processing pipeline from start to finish. It is going to read the cleaned studies from the Google Cloud Storage. It is going to chunk them. It is going to embed them via OpenAI. It is going to store everything in Cloud SQL for agent search. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so first and foremost, let me create helper objects here, which is GCS store, then chunker equals to chunker, embedder equals to embedder. Okay, and yeah, I think we can just start with logger.info, and then I'll say loading parsed studies from GCS. Okay, and then first and foremost it is going to ask the GCS for a list of NCT ID during ingestion. So I'll just say NCT IDs equals to await.gcs store, and from GCS store get the, I'll just say get the list of processed studies. Okay, so what does this do? This basically asks the Google Cloud storage for the list of every NCT ID. NCT ID is nothing but the research study ID that we have saved during ingestion, and it returns something like this. It basically returns the study. Okay, and then we'll also look at how many studies have we found in GCS. Okay, so let me create an empty list called as studies, which is basically a list of parsed study. Okay, that is what I'm going to expect. Basically parsed study is nothing but the cleaned data. Okay, cleaned study, and then I'm just going to loop over it for NCT ID in NCT IDs. I'm just going to take yeah, this looks fine. Yeah, so just a minute, await.gcs store load parse study as per the NCT ID. Yes, now what this is going to do, it is going to load the full parsed study object. Okay, for each NCT ID. For each NCT ID, it gives me the clean data, okay, or the parse study object. Okay, let me just fetch the data from here. Yeah, it loads the full parse study object for each NCT ID. Okay, this reads the processed. So in your processed folder you have studies, and studies you have nct.json file. I've already showed you when we were building gcstore.py, and it rebuilds the pedantic parsed study object. Okay, in case if it founds it, I'm just going to append that to the studies list that I've created here. Okay, and then I'll just put in here logger.info, and it will just say loaded these many studies successfully. Okay, and then I'll just say open the database connection. Okay, so I'll just say async with vector store as vector store. Okay, and yeah, then I'll just say here I'll just say logger.info. Okay, and I'll say saving metadata to database, or yeah, or basically to Cloud SQL. Okay, then let me just fetch it directly from here. Okay, all right. Okay, now sorry, this should be, just give me a minute. Let me just, all right. All right, looks good. Yeah, so now, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create, open the database connection. Here we're going to use async with, which opens the connection pool when we enter, right, and guarantees it closes when we exit from it. So it's basically open that database connection for us. Okay, and then whatever metadata we have, we're going to save it to the Cloud SQL. Okay, and we must do this before saving the chunks. The chunks table has a foreign key to the studies table, and if we try to save the chunks first, every insert will fail. Basically, it is going to give us the foreign key violation error. Okay, as of now, how many studies are saved? 0, for obvious reasons, and then we're just going to loop over it. Okay, so in the vector store, we're going to save the study. So when we save study, okay, what does the data looks like? Okay, we're going to take the NCT ID, title, sponsor. These are the things that we're going to store in the vector store. Okay, basically we pass a plain dictionary that save study is going to accept this save study data. Okay, and this is not a parse study object. We convert it here, so vector store stays decoupled. Okay, that's all. Basically this is the dictionary that gets processed in the vector store. Okay, which is going to say that studies are saved to the Cloud SQL, study saved. Okay, and length of how many studies. Okay, then finally what we're going to do is we're going to chunk all those studies. I think we have already done it here. We are just calling them here. See, these all things we have already done in chunker.py, embedder.py. Okay, and yeah, let's finally run it. Okay, so let us just run this file. Okay, I'll just okay, I'll just say how do I do that? Should I? No, I think I'll run that from SQL. Fair, no issues. I'll just say Python 3 in processing. I'll just say run processing.py. Okay. All right. You can see it has the GCS store is initialized. All of this you can see loaded one study successfully. It has found 286 studies in GCS. Okay, you can see now one by one it will start loading. Okay, now what I'll do here is it will take some time to load. I will end the video here, and in the next video I'll show all end to end what has happened. Yeah, let's catch up in the next video.